After eating, Do-han then came out of the shop drunk, so Hyung immediately picked him up and took Do-han to a nearby motel, because she knew that currently Do-han had no place to stay, but when she arrived there, Hyung accidentally met Siwo, so that it made them suspect each other.
조심히 가고.
The next day, Hyung also asked Siwo to reconsider their current relationship, because Hyung felt that her past wounds had not been able to heal, and when she saw Siwo at the motel yesterday, Hyung kept thinking about it, and suspected Siwo of having an affair. But Siwo explained that he had never had an affair, and the woman he met at the motel yesterday had nothing to do with Siwo, but Hyung still didn't believe him, so Siwo told her the real events that night. Siwo deliberately came to the motel just to meet his father, because his father always contacted Siwo and asked for money to play gambling, and even the father was willing to spend Siva's savings to make Siwo have to live with a lack of money, and it also made Siwo very fed up and asked his father not to contact him again, because if he still bothered him then Siwo would not hesitate to report his father to the police station. But when Siwo left, the father accidentally saw Siwo, who was with Hyung at that time, and even the father had heard the conversation between them. In the evening, when the two Premier Division teams were monitoring the potential for local rain, Hyung suddenly got a call from Father Siwo, who asked to meet at that time. The father said that he would reveal their relationship to the public if Hyung did not give him 10 million won. Hearing that, Hyung was only silent and did not believe it.
긴히 드릴 말씀이 있는데.
무슨 말씀이세요?
우리 시우랑 과장님이랑 졌더만요.
In the morning, Siwo was seen coming to see his father, and he immediately gave the amount of money he had promised. The money was the last savings that Siwo had, and from the words spoken by his father, Siwo finally learned that his father had met Hyung to blackmail her, so that it made Siwo very emotional and asked his father not to interfere with his life anymore. After that, Siwo then went to see Hyung to apologize for his father's treatment, but Hyung claimed that she did not mind it, and even Hyung asked Siwo not to feel pressured by his father anymore. While eating together, Hyung then told about her past when she was a child. At that time, Hyung, who had just returned home, was suddenly shocked to find that her father had died hanging himself, and it turned out that the reason her father did it was because he felt frustrated after learning that the company he had built had gone bankrupt. Of course, it has been a nightmare for Hyung until now, so Hyung also asked Siwo to always be honest with her when there was a problem, because Hyung had experienced how it felt to be lied to by her father, and Hyung did not want anything like that to happen again. Then Hyung also invited Siwo to live together, because Hyung wanted to make sure whether the two of them were suitable or not as lovers, but Siwo immediately rejected it, saying that the suitability of the relationship depends on their efforts to complement each other's strengths and weaknesses.
아버지가 가장 좋아하시던 건데 안 낼 거라고 약속해줘.
약속할게요. 물어봐도 돼요?
In the evening, when he came home from work, Siwo also invited Hyung to go to dinner together in a shop. There, Hyung, who saw that Siwo was hiding something, then she asked him to open up to each other. So Siwo told her that he was busy looking for a place to live that suited his current finances, because Siwo no longer had enough money to live in an apartment. Hearing this, Hyung then again offered Siwo to want to live with her, but Siwo immediately refused with the reason that he wanted to separate his romantic relationship with his daily life. Hearing the answer from Siwo, Hyung finally understood that Siwo actually felt prestigious about it. After returning from the shop, Siwo then went to meet Do-han in the office while bringing fried chicken for him. It turned out that Do-han deliberately stayed in the picket room to avoid conflict with his wife. Siwo, who felt that his fate with Do-han was the same, namely both had no place to live, finally he decided to live together with Do-han in the office picket room. The next day, Hyung received many complaints from several employees, because they could not rest in the picket room because it was being occupied by members of Team 2. So Hyung was forced to act decisively to tell Siwo and Do-han to leave the picket room because Siwo and Do-han did not have a place to live. Because Siwo and Do-han had no other place to stay, finally they decided to sleep in the car, knowing that Hyung, who felt heartless, then invited them to live in her apartment, with the condition that the cost of maintaining the apartment would be shared by the three of them, although they felt hesitant, but in the end they agreed. Shortly thereafter, Kijun, who was drunk, suddenly came to Hyung's apartment, and he also asked permission to enter for a while, but Hyung immediately said that Kijun should discuss his problems with his wife, and not with her. At the same time, Seho, who also lives in the apartment neighborhood, now he was surprised to see Kijun there, so Hyung immediately took Kijun out of the apartment. In a semi-conscious state, Ki-jun then apologized for betraying Hyung, and even Ki-jun continued to apologize until he finally fell due to the effects of alcohol. Siwo, who found out about it, then he also drove Ki-jun to his apartment. At that time, Yujin heard her husband constantly apologizing to Hyung, so that made Yujin feel very jealous. The next day, Hyung, who was heading to the office, suddenly had a minor accident that caused her car to be damaged, so Hyung immediately contacted the insurance to report this, but the insurance said that Hyung's car was not registered with their insurance, so that made Hyung very surprised, and it turned out that without Hyung's knowledge, Ki-jun had changed the car insurance to his acquaintance's insurance, and when questioned, Ki-jun argued that he deliberately changed her car insurance because he thought that they would use the same car after they got married later. But Hyung, who was already annoyed, immediately scolded him because Ki-jun always decided something alone, making Hyung have to take care of the problems he caused. Ki-jun, who could not do anything, then he apologized and invited Hyung to go to the office together. In the office of Siwo, who heard that Hyung had an accident, he was worried and tried to contact her, but unfortunately Hyung could not be contacted, to make Siwo even more worried. But soon Siwo was suddenly surprised when he saw Ki-jun and Hyung, who came to the office together. In the afternoon, Yujin came to see Siwo to ask about yesterday's incident when Ki-jun came to Hyung's apartment drunk. Hearing that, Siwo also told her that Ki-jun came there to apologize, because he had felt guilty for betraying Hyung, and even Ki-jun also told her about his discomfort when he found out that Yujin and Siwo had lived together when they were dating, so that made Yujin worried about the continuity of their current relationship, because Yujin felt that Ki-jun was starting to behave coldly towards her. When the weather forecast was holding a press conference as usual, Ki-jun suddenly saw Yujin and Siwo, who entered the room simultaneously, so that it also made Ki-jun feel jealous, and he immediately questioned Siwo. However, Siwo explained that he did not have any relationship with Yujin, because Siwo was not the type of person who was obsessed with his former lover, and even Siwo also insinuated Ki-jun by saying that he would not hurt his partner because of her past. Hearing that, Ki-jun immediately felt angry, and he immediately beat Siwo in front of many people. In the evening, Hyung invited Siwo to go to dinner together as well as treat his wounds. There, Hyung apologized for making Siwo jealous when he saw her come to the office with Ki-jun this morning, and after Hyung explained the reason, she then promised that she would not repeat it again. Hearing that, Siwo finally understood and he forgave Hyung's mistake. Meanwhile, outside the restaurant, Ki-jun, who was following them, now knows that all this time Siwo has been dating Hyung, so that it also makes Ki-jun feel upset because he is not willing if Hyung is dating Siwo. The next day, Ki-jun invited Hyung to talk, because Ki-jun wanted to confirm what he saw last night, but Hyung immediately evaded and said that she would not be able to have a relationship with an office colleague again. Apparently Ki-jun deliberately asked this because he was very worried about Hyung, because he felt that Siwo was not a good man. Ki-jun then thought that Siwo was deliberately using Hyung to avenge Ki-jun, but Hyung didn't seem to care and she immediately left Ki-jun just like that. Since that incident, Ki-jun, who realized that he still had feelings for Hyung, he also felt jealous of Hyung's relationship with Siwo, and even that made his attitude this time even colder to Yujin. On holidays, Ki-jun was seen going to Hyung's apartment just to monitor the two of them, and when he got there, Ki-jun saw Siwo and Hyung, who were about to go somewhere by car, so Ki-jun immediately followed them to the campsite. At that time, Ki-jun intended to take their photos as evidence, but because he was too excited to stalk them, Ki-jun forgot to bring his cell phone, which was left in the car, so he decided to go back and get his cell phone, but unfortunately Ki-jun was panicked when he saw his car being towed for parking carelessly. The next day, the weather forecast office received many complaints from the public, because the predictions about the rain that would fall even deviated from the forecast, so the weather forecasters immediately discussed these problems. At that time, Ki-jun and Siwo were seen arguing and strengthening each other's arguments, so Bongsun asked them to argue privately so that they could reach a common conclusion. After the debate was over, Ki-jun suddenly asked what was the reason Siwo was dating Hyung, because Ki-jun still thought that Siwo deliberately approached Hyung just to avenge him. So Ki-jun asked Siwo to stop because Hyung always started everything seriously, but Siwo instead replied that he was not that type of person, and even Siwo was frank that he really loved Hyung as it was. After the conversation, Ki-jun finally realized that Siwo was a good man, but it turned out that Siwo had a principle not to marry anyone even though the person he really loved. But all of that is different from Hyung who thinks that the target of a relationship is marriage, so she also wonders what is the reason Siwo doesn't want to get married, and it turns out that the reason Siwo doesn't want to get married is because he doesn't believe that love should lead to marriage, because Siwo doesn't want to feel burdened after marriage, and doesn't want to vent his burden on the person he loves. Hearing the answer from Siwo, Hyung also felt indecisive about their future relationship, so Hyung went to see Kijin to ask how his life was after marriage. At that time Kijin told her that he had never imagined that marriage would make his life more difficult, because after marriage Kijin felt that he had a burden that caused him to get emotional quickly. After hearing the story from Kijin, Hyung could only be silent and not talk anymore. In the evening when Hyung's mother came to her daughter's apartment, the mother was suddenly shocked when she saw her daughter living with two men at once. Seeing this, Hyung argued that they were only staying temporarily until the summer ended. But the mother did not believe it and she also felt worried about it, so the mother immediately planned to match Hyung with the man of her choice, because in addition to feeling worried the mother also did not want Hyung to become the subject of gossip among the neighbors because she had not yet married at her old age. Hearing that Hyung was angry and said that she would not get married, so that made the mother feel very surprised when she heard it. The next day during a meeting, Do-han saw middle school students including his daughter visiting the weather forecast office for a study visit. At that time Do-han was very happy when he met his daughter again. While chatting with Bomi, Do-han then asked his daughter to understand how important his work was, which resulted in him having to leave them. After considering and looking at the work there, Bomi finally understood that the reason her father rarely came home because he could not carelessly leave his job, especially when her father was assigned to a city far from where they lived. And when Bomi had understood the reason her father rarely came home, his wife was still unable to understand her husband's work, and she even forbade Bomi to go to the weather forecast office, especially until she met her father again. But it turns out that Bomi is now even interested in studying weather forecasting. One day Bongsun asked Hyung to appoint one of her team to go to Jeju Island, because soon the typhoon season will soon arrive and he needs a staff from the weather forecast to come directly to the National Typhoon Center on Jeju Island. In the evening, Hyung also appointed Siwo as a weather forecasting staff who would go to Jeju Island to report directly on the typhoon's movements, but instead of feeling happy, Siwo felt sad because it meant they had to be separated for the next 2 months. While elsewhere, Yujin was seen leaving her house to calm down, because she felt that her relationship with Kijin was currently not okay, because the behavior of Kijin now made her think whether their relationship could continue or not. The next day Do-han then invited Bomi to have lunch with him. There Do-han also looked happy when introducing Bomi to his co-workers, and they even praised Bomi who had a smart brain like her father. At that time Do-han who had ordered meat for Bomi then he immediately gave it to his daughter, but after eating it Bomi suddenly coughed and on her neck came out red spots that made Bomi fall unconscious. Seeing that Do-han immediately felt panic and he immediately took Bomi to the hospital. After the examination, Bomi turned out to suffer from eczema due to allergies to processed meat. The wife who found out that Bomi went to the hospital because of Do-han's actions, she felt angry and immediately sued her husband for divorce. The wife then admitted that she had long thought about it, and she also felt that she could no longer continue her relationship with Do-han. Hearing the confession of his wife, Do-han could only be silent while looking at the divorce papers given by his wife. Meanwhile, Yujin was seen ordering a plane ticket to go to her parents' house in Jeju, while Kijin, who felt saddened by Yujin's departure, now tried to contact her, but Yujin chose to ignore all messages from Kijin. Long story short, the day of Siva's departure to Jeju Island, and arriving at the typhoon headquarters, Siwo immediately held discussions with other staff including the head of the office named Mrs. Sung. At that time Mrs. Sung was amazed by the knowledge possessed by Siwo, so she immediately asked Siwo to check the condition of the weather station on Jeju Island. Upon arrival at the location, Siwo accidentally met Yujin who was walking along with her mother and brother. There Siwo also told that he was assigned by Mrs. Sung to fly a sounding rocket, so they could find out the movement of the storm that looked a bit strange. Hearing that, Yujin's brother was interested and invited his family to come along with Siwo. Siwo who felt no objection to it then allowed them to come with him. And when Siwo was filling the balloon with hydrogen, unexpectedly the balloon suddenly exploded which resulted in Siwo being injured and had to be rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, Hyung, who got the news that Siwo had an accident, felt panic and immediately asked his co-workers to contact the hospital there, but not long after that Siva's father suddenly came to the head office and he demanded Bongsun to compensate for the accident experienced by Siwo. He did so because the weather forecaster should be responsible for sending someone to a dangerous location, but Hyung then explained that currently Siwo had been treated and the doctor said that the injury to his eye was not too severe. Hearing the explanation from Hyung, Siva's father became very emotional and continued to demand compensation, saying that the weather forecaster had caused Siwo to become a level 1 disability, and even Siva's father threatened that he would report the news to the media if Siwo did not receive proper compensation. In addition, Siva's father also exposed the relationship between Hyung and Siwo in front of everyone. Hyung, who did not want a commotion, then invited Siva's father to come to Jeju Island so that he could see his son's condition, and after that Siva's father could only decide how much compensation he wanted. Ki-jun, who also heard the news, he immediately applied for leave to go there as well as meet his wife. Long story short, they finally arrived at Jeju Hospital. There Hyung immediately entered the hospital room to check the condition of Siwo, while Siva's father was seen talking to the doctor to find out the condition of his son now. At that time the doctor explained that Siwo had a slight burn on his face, and the cornea of his left eye was also injured by the explosion. The doctor asked Siva's father not to worry because the injury in Siva's eye had been treated very well. Hearing that, Siva's father tried to take advantage of the situation by asking the doctor to write a chronology of eye cornea injuries suffered by Siwo in the doctor's certificate, because he wanted to use the letter to request a very large amount of compensation money. After that, Siva's father immediately went to Hyung and said that he wanted to ask for compensation of 30 million won. Siwo, who heard their conversation, immediately scolded his father and told his father to leave there immediately, because Siwo knew that his father's visit to Jeju was not to visit him, but to get the compensation money he would receive, because the compensation money would be used by his father to play gambling. And after that Siwo left the hospital with an upset face. Hyung, who saw that, she immediately chased Siwo and apologized for inviting his father to come to Jeju Island, but unexpectedly Siwo decided to end his relationship with Hyung. In the evening, heavy rains accompanied by typhoons have destroyed all corners of the region due to Hurricane Ricky, which swept across the Korean peninsula, and even the devastating storm caused by Hurricane Ricky has killed as many as 120 people, as well as property losses exceeding 80 billion won. But even so, the prediction of the Weather Forecast Office regarding the storm has been accurate, so that it can minimize the number of casualties that might occur, and thanks to the prediction of the Weather Forecast Office also received a lot of praise from the public. One day Ki-jun was seen coming to see Yujin at her family home. There Ki-jun immediately knelt down and apologized for making Yujin very sad, and even Ki-jun also said that he would not stand up until Yujin was willing to come with him back to Seoul. Yujin, who saw the sincerity of Ki-jun, finally she was willing to return to Seoul together with Ki-jun. While Do-han, who had previously received a divorce suit from his wife, then he went to his wife to ask for 3 months because he wanted to try to live life like a family in general. And after the time was up, Do-han then promised to obey all his wife's wishes. Hearing that, his wife agreed to give Do-han a chance, but not for 3 months, but only 2 months. The next day, Do-han came to his wife's house while bringing breakfast for his family. At that time Bomi felt very happy because her father wanted to change to improve family relations. After returning from Jeju Island, Siwo was told by Do-han that everyone had found out if Siwo and Hyung were in a romantic relationship, so that made Siwo immediately panic and he immediately went to see Hyung to tell the news. But soon Hyung's mother suddenly came and suspected that they were in a romantic relationship, because the mother had managed to find intimate photos of them kissing. One night Siva's father suddenly had an accident after being hit when he was about to cross the road, so that it also made Siva's father have to be hospitalized due to the injuries he suffered. While enduring the pain, Siva's father also tried to contact his son to inform him about his condition, but unfortunately Siwo ignored his call because he no longer wanted to deal with his father. Then in the weather forecast office, the employees were seen gossiping about Hyung and Siwo, who were in a relationship with fellow office colleagues, even though they did not know if in fact Hyung and Siwo had now broken up. At that time Ki-jun, who wanted to convey something, then he went to see Siwo. There Ki-jun then said that Hyung was the most valuable woman, but unfortunately Ki-jun realized it too late and preferred to dump Hyung, so that Ki-jun felt that he had become an asshole man. After that, Ki-jun then advised Siwo to always maintain his relationship with Hyung, because if they broke up, it would only make Hyung suffer to cause deep trauma. And after hearing advice from Ki-jun, Siwo finally came to see Hyung and asked her to keep a secret about the breakup of their relationship, because Siwo did not want to make Hyung suffer from the gossip that would be made by others. Meanwhile, it was seen that Yujin came to see Ki-jun to tell him that she was currently pregnant, but instead of feeling happy, Ki-jun was just silent as if he didn't want his wife to be pregnant, so that made Yujin feel very sad. After work, Ki-jun immediately apologized to Yujin because he did not have time to congratulate her. Ki-jun then reasoned that the news was too sudden to make himself very surprised, even though in fact Ki-jun was afraid that he could not be a good father for his children. It was because Ki-jun realized that their financial condition was not stable. Yujin, who understood it, finally decided to abort her pregnancy. While in a different place, Hyung, who was about to return to her apartment, suddenly she got a call from Siva's father, who asked her to come to the hospital. He did it because he could not contact Siwo, and now he needed someone to accompany him. Then when Hyung just came, the doctor suddenly informed that in Father Siva's right lung there was a lump measuring 3 centimeters which was suspected of being a tumor, so the doctor also suggested that the father do a biopsy to confirm the lump. Hearing that, Hyung immediately signed Father Siva's biopsy form. While at the office, Do-han was seen calling his wife to ask what birthday gift is suitable to give to Bomi. Hearing that, his wife also told him that Bomi just wanted a family dinner as a very special birthday gift. After the meeting, Siwo then came to see Hyung to apologize because he had previously been angry with her, even though Hyung there only wanted to convey about the current condition of Siva's father. Siwo, who still has feelings for Hyung, then tells her that the reason he broke it off was because of his father. He did it because Siwo didn't want to make Hyung suffer because of the attitude of his father, who always asked for money to gamble. Hearing that, Hyung also understood what Siwo felt. In the evening, Do-han, who was on his way to the restaurant, was suddenly called by Seho, who told him that there were many problems at the office, so Do-han had to cancel his appointment with Bomi. But Bomi, who understood her father's condition, also looked happy and not angry, because Bomi knew that her father had done his best for his family. Meanwhile, Hyung took Siwo to the hospital to find out the results of the biopsy from his father. When the doctor told him that his father had stage 3 lung cancer, and it had spread to the overflow to the side of his stomach, hearing that, Siwo was worried and he immediately cried at his father's bedside. Meanwhile, Yujin was seen holding back pain in her abdomen, and after being examined, Yujin turned out to have flatulence due to stretching of the uterus. And when the doctor listened to their baby's heartbeat, Kijin suddenly felt moved and he decided to keep their baby, because from now on Kijin will work even harder so that he can provide the best for his son. A few days later, Siwo got a call from the hospital, which informed him that his father had run away from there, so that made Siwo very panicked and he immediately looked for his father's whereabouts. Until soon the father contacted Siwo, and he apologized for not being a good father to Siwo. In addition, Siva's father also advised Siwo to maintain his relationship with Hyung, because Siva's father felt that Hyung was the best person for Siwo. Hearing that, Siwo also asked his father to do chemotherapy and also a series of treatments, but his father immediately refused by saying that soon he would die. Hearing that made Siwo feel very sad. In a different place, Bomi, who saw the divorce papers from her parents, now she also felt very sad and did not want it to happen. Because now Bomi has understood and also recognized her father very well. Her mother, who saw it, then met Do-han in the picket room. There she also said that she would cancel their divorce, so that made Do-han feel moved. While hugging his wife, Do-han then promised that he would fix everything. Meanwhile, Hyung, who saw her mother waiting in front of the apartment, then told her mother to go inside. There Hyung's mother told her that last night she had heard Siva's conversation with his father, and that made Hyung's mother know that Siwo was a good man, because he tried to persuade his father to do medicine. So Hyung's mother also asked Hyung to re-establish a relationship with Siwo, because she felt sure that Hyung and Siwo still loved each other. Long story short, the snow finally fell as expected by Siwo and Hyung. At that time the two of them accidentally met around the weather forecast office, and watched the snow together for the first time. There they told each other about the beginning when they met until they finally decided to establish a relationship together. And on that occasion Siwo then revealed that at this time he would not hate the storm that would come to him, because Siwo realized that he would feel more resilient in facing it if accompanied by someone he loved. And under the snow they finally decided to reconnect, and start all over again. In the Korean drama forecasting, love and weather came to the end. Kamsahamnida.